What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
With his concerns for the future now eased, he happily joined Obera's command.
I'm in.
Gopta agreed enthusiastically. Facing a powerful opponent like Pelyud, they had no chance of winning unless they worked together. It was difficult to coordinate with others on the spot without prior training, so they decided to place themselves under Obera's command. Thus, Obera, Midley, and Gopta and Ranga were set to face Pelyud. But then, another figure appeared.
Mother, let me have the honor of crushing your enemies!
Mujika, who had left Geld behind, had tunneled through the ground and emerged. The count was now 3-on-2, but that number was about to change.
Don't forget about me.
I'm still here. I hope you didn't think that was the end.
Carrion and Frey, healed by Geld, were back on their feet, though still injured. Their visible wounds had healed, but they hadn't regained their lost strength. They couldn't perform any major moves due to their depleted energy, but they were determined to fight, which was better than doing nothing.
I'm here too.
Geld added, full of determination. It was now 6-against-2. Gobua and the Beastketeers were still on the battlefield, dealing with the remaining insectors. Regardless, Pelyud was a force to be reckoned with, so it seemed safe to assume that those gathered here were the full strength. Even with the assembled warriors before her, Pelyud smiled seductively.
What a delightful group! That's right! I will use all of you to create even stronger offspring.
It was a confident declaration in the face of Obera and the others. And it was all based on
Life reconstruction!
Pelyud used the energy she had gathered to strengthen the children she had created. Of course, this only applied to those who were still alive. However, both Zess and Mujika were still very much alive and present on this battlefield. Now, with two superior warriors by her side, the queen, the consort of insect lord Zelanus, had revealed her true nature. Carrera, realizing the situation after Zess pointed it out, wore a bitter expression. She had been enjoying the duel with Zess, but now, after the revelation, she felt disillusioned. Immediately, a chill ran through her, and she quickly leapt back. A split second later, the spot where she had just stood erupted.
Splendid. Thanks to Mother, I am now closer to becoming a god of creation. I will need you to help me test this newfound power.
Zess, now speaking more smoothly, clenched and unclenched his fist as he addressed Carrera. These were words of dominance, meant to trample on Carrera's pride.
Well, that's what you think. Are you inviting me to a test of strength?
You have no say in the matter.
As he spoke, Zess casually thrust his fist forward. It seemed like a simple jab, but the speed of the punch was many times faster than the speed of sound. The shockwave it generated scorched the air and shattered the ground. It was clearly more powerful than before. Zess's existence value seemed to have surged, possibly even doubled. What was more concerning were the new special abilities that appeared to be part of Zess now.
How unfair, seriously.
Carrera grumbled to herself. After all the effort she had put into carving a path to victory, she now had to start from scratch. Yet, while challenging, it wasn't impossible. Zess's level hadn't changed, even though his power had grown. If Zess had demonstrated the same skill as Zijin, Carrera might have felt genuinely threatened. However, since that wasn't the case, Carrera remained composed despite her frustration. She was, however, annoyed by Zess's arrogance and determined to put him in his place. Carrera's smile vanished not because she despaired of Zess's strength but due to concern for her comrades.
This one seems quite dangerous. He might be stronger than my target, and I'm not sure Abra and Midley-san can defeat him, even together.
Carrera estimated that Gopta and Ranga, Geld, Carrion, and Frey would have to give everything they had to defeat Mujika. The enhanced Mujika had become a truly formidable adversary. If things went as Carrera anticipated, their chances of victory were 50-50. And sacrifices would be unavoidable, going against Milord's will. Carrera was always loyal to Rimuru commands. Her strategy in handling Zess was driven by the thought that if she could keep the most challenging opponent occupied, it would prevent harm to her comrades. She had assumed Milam would take down Zelanus, the enemy's main general, leaving her to handle the second most significant threat. But realizing she was mistaken, Carrera knew she couldn't afford to focus on Zess, the third-ranked enemy. Carrera had a tough choice to make.
I wanted to hold on to this, just in case, but I don't want to regret not using it. Sorry, Zess. I would have loved to enjoy more battles by your side, but it seems it's time to part ways.
Carrera silently apologized to Zess. Though she had hoped to defeat Zess for the experience, with her friend's lives on the line, her own enjoyment had to take a back seat. Resolving herself, she aimed the golden gun at Zess.
Don't you get it yet? That's not going to work on me.
Zess wasn't wrong. Carrera's magicule bullets, even from the golden gun, could only damage his exoskeleton. And with his ability to regenerate instantly, the harm was negligible. Still, Carrera kept firing the golden gun as a distraction. She had a specific reason for doing so. It was something crucial.
Then, die.
It was meant as a trump card for the decisive moment. Before Zess could react, the golden gun unleashed a lethal shot. The name of that shot, capable of destroying anything, was Judgment.
Huh?
Zess looked at the gaping hole in his chest in disbelief. The realization of his life slipping away came too late. His core, the magic nucleus that sustained his being, had been destroyed, and he knew there was no escaping death.
You were holding back all along.
No, we were fairly matched, and you've become quite strong. If we had fought head-to-head, it would have been tough to win.
Then why?
It's simply because of that.
Carrera found it thrilling to fight a battle that could go either way, but now wasn't the time for her personal desires to take precedence. The longer she delayed, the higher the risk her allies would be annihilated. Moreover, there was another key reason.
Fighting you was entertaining in its own way, but you're not as strong as Zijin, so I think I've had enough.
With an innocent smile, Carrera delivered this truth to Zess, a truth that would plunge him into despair. It was a cruel thing to say, but Carrera did so without realizing its impact.
I am inferior. I was meant to become the next god of creation.
Zess murmured in regret, and those were his final words. Carrera felt no sense of achievement, even after facing the fall of such a formidable foe. Before Carrera could savor the victory, she turned her attention to helping Datta and the others. But just as she was about to act, the hidden enemy finally made his move.
Ha! I've been waiting for this opportunity.
Huh?
Carrera, who hadn't sensed anything until now, was suddenly jolted by a sharp pain in her arms. This wasn't just any pain, it was damage from an intense and violent blow. Her arms barely managed to shield her vital points from the heavy impact. The attack was a kick from Insect Lord Zelanus, who had somehow evaded Carrera's universal perception. Carrera reacted swiftly, but anyone else would have been taken down by that strike.
I knew you'd show up, but you sure didn't waste any time.
If there's a chance to strike, one must seize it without delay.
As he said, Insect Lord Zelanus had been waiting for the right moment to attack Carrera. Though confident in his overwhelming power, he remained vigilant, watching Carrera closely, wary of a possible defeat. It was Carrera's judgment that he was especially cautious of. Minaza, whom he had sent as a scout, had reported on a man named Kondu. While Kondu hadn't revealed all his abilities, Minaza, who had been observing him, concluded that Kondu was extremely dangerous with unknown powers. Zelanus had taken this warning seriously. After consulting with Michael and Feldway, he knew that Kondu's power had been passed on to Carrera. He had anticipated this moment. In Michael's case, Castle Guard had shielded him from the attack, but Zelanus had no such defense. He waited for Carrera to unleash her formidable power, fearing his own defenses might not hold up. This cautiousness, paired with his formidable strength, made Zelanus the most dangerous. And now, after a long wait, his fears had finally subsided. They may have lost Zess, but the caution had paid off.
That attack was powerful, even for an enemy. If it had struck me, survival would have been impossible.
Despite his admiration, Zelanus had already moved past his concerns. With the threat neutralized, there was no longer any danger for Carrera. Carrera also recognized Zelanus as a severe threat.
This guy is dangerous. It's like there's no end to his power.
It felt like facing Zijin, but worse. Zelanus had no weaknesses, and Carrera had no clear way to attack. Despite her frustration, she had to admit it. Insect Lord Zelanus was more powerful than Menace Lord Carrera. But even so, Carrera wasn't about to give up easily.
Aren't you a bit too cowardly for someone who calls himself a king?
Carrera spat out in defiance. But Zelanus was even better at verbal sparring than Carrera.
Ha! Showing false bravado this late in the game. Demons are losers at heart.
He looked down on Carrera, confident and composed, as if he had already won.
Do you really think you've already won? You're getting a bit too full of yourself.
Despite her retort, Carrera's face showed no signs of confidence. After all, Zelanus's kick had shattered Carrera's arms. She struggled even to hold the golden gun, let alone grip her sword. Carrera's skeleton, originally made of Rimuru unique orichalcum, had now evolved into Hihiirokane. It had the durability, hardness, and viscosity on par with mythical grade armor, making it nearly indestructible. Yet, despite this, While she could have understood if the damage came from a mythical-grade weapon, it was shocking that just a kick could cause such harm. This alone highlighted the immense threat posed by Insect Lord Zelanus. The secret became clear as soon as she observed Insect Lord Zelanus's entire body. His exoskeleton gleamed with rainbow hues. It was the unmistakable luster of Hihiirokane.
I never thought I'd see Hihiirokane covering his entire body.
As she examined him closely, it became apparent that Insect Lord Zelanus was the pinnacle of life, a perfect balance of offense and defense. His entire form was both a deadly weapon and an impenetrable shield. Carrera carefully took in Zelanus's entire figure. The silvery cilia that extended from his forehead to his back resembled long hair. But on closer look, each strand was lined with tiny blade-like protrusions. Even these cilia appeared to be made of Hihiirokane, shimmering iridescently depending on the angle.
So, each of those hairs could be a mythical grade blade? I don't know how he controls them, but if I'm not cautious, they could slice me into pieces.
2 antennae swayed on his forehead. 4 wings, 2 on his back and 2 on his hips, glowed a deep red, and 3 pairs of arms were poised for battle.
Those wings look incredibly dangerous. They're so dense. Could it be because they're packed with energy? If he unleashes that, it might change the very landscape.
They likely had more destructive potential than Carrera's extreme magic. The amount of energy radiating from those wings was staggering. Then there were the 3 pairs of arms. 1 pair was folded casually, but the other 2 were battle-ready. The lowest set, crossed near his abdomen, seemed prepared to cast a spell at any moment.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Havox, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Moab A, Day of Light, John M, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, Sanketh Chelu, T. Bush, JV, Thomas, Christ, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Kemal Ebanks, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Normal Defate, Vicente Baharias, Joshua Andrade, L, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J. Rule, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Ekotski, Sky T, Diego Ginoza, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Guy Ensley, Simon Rode, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, George Hage, Pratik Bandari, Jackson Early, Smexy, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Vasto Lord, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Spencer Candila, Ian Sikibiol, Thana Cornley Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Alex Buthanu, Nathaniel Johnson, Michael Brinkley, Elijah Pierre, Michael Stern. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.